Hey, running down the clock listeners, this is Jordan Dallas Coltman from Hat Trick and from Pit Stop Podcast. I'm also the president of the Ordinary Podcasting Network, and it's my great pleasure to be able to announce this week that we have introduced a brand new show. MCU and Me will be joining our network. This is an awesome show that already has a 60 episode back catalog. Now, they'll be back in the new year with brand new shows, but until then, we'd encourage you to take some time over your holidays to check them out. Here's the trailer.
Hey, I'm Sayer, and I love Marvel.
And I'm Kaylee, and I love someone who loves Marvel.
And we're watching through the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, in release order.
There's another order.
For Kaylee's first time.
And Sayer's 85th.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find MCU.
And me!
Sayer's obsessed,
And Kaylee's the best!
MCU and me.
Welcome to Running Down the Clock, where we break down all of this week's big news, events, and controversies from the National Football League. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you basic fan perspective and opinion on the most important stories and moments happening now. So, let's start the clock. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Running Down the Clock. We just got through week 12. We're going to talk about some week 12 stuff. We're going to talk about some week 13 stuff. I am Tyler Walzak. I'm here with Poya Ricey. Poya, do you want to start off with the Sean Taylor statue?
I mean, in respect to the guy, I can't say no when his name comes up now. So definitely let's address Sean Taylor. He deserves the respect. So
Yeah.
now, statue. Maybe I'm mistaken in what I saw. I didn't see a statue. I just saw his kind of Redskins uniform stacked up on each other on itself with the shoes, the shorts, the socks, the jersey, the helmet.
Yeah. So it's just metal rods.
Yeah.
And then his statue's on it. And the shoes aren't even shoes that he's ever worn before.
It's an odd one to me. Like,
There's soccer shoes, which I guess is something common for football players to wear because they're a little bit lighter. But Sean Taylor never wore those types of
that's
shoes.
not a pair of game-worn Sean Taylor shoes.
It's not even a brand he's ever put on before.
No, those were bought at the soccer shop down the street earlier that week.
It's like they almost forgot that they had to make a statue, and they just said, well, put a bunch of wires together and put his jersey on it. Done.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a statue. It's just like hanging his jersey in the Hall of Fame type thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's
1,000% not a statue.
they just hung up his uniform.
Is 1,000%
A statue, I feel like maybe they put his face in there, like maybe a human torso, something.
What they put up is the equivalent of what like Foot Locker or Sports Check would put up to showcase like a hoodie and a pair of pants or something.
Yeah, it's an odd one to call it a statue.
It's very strange. And then to have a big unveiling about it, like they must have known about this forever. And somebody said, yeah, that's good enough. We're good. One of our
Dan Snyder.
favorite, one of the
Dan Snyder.
teams. Yeah. Washington's just a nightmare. One of the team's all-time loved players tragically shot in his home, defending his house, and his family, shot by a robber, dies at a very young age at the beginning of a very promising career, and they give him the worst statue known to man.
Yeah, statue's the wrong word.
The worst thing known to man because it's not a statue.
Had they just said the commemorative piece or just some sort of memorial, anything, just don't use the word statue when you didn't give him a statue.
Yeah,
because it's a very half-assed. I don't even think it's an effort towards a statue, unless we're both missing something.
No,
they labeled it wrong, just like a team that's been misnamed multiple times in the past few years. They got the wrong name for it. Just call it something else, and people aren't upset.
Yeah, like a shrine to.
Yeah, the Sean Taylor shrine.
Yeah, or something. The Sean Taylor's uniform.
Yeah.
We're going to unveil a Sean Taylor uniform. Is all they had to say. That's all it
Wonder
is.
was it even a game worn jersey, or they just made a jersey?
No, they definitely just made it. They got the shoes from down the street because they forgot to put shoes on it. That's not exactly what happened, but that's probably what happened. He's never worn those shoes before. It's very frustrating.
Now, one thing I was going to kind of start us off with,
Go.
but we're all heated anyway.
That
I don't know
that
what
didn't take
we're
long,
talking
did it?
about. No, it didn't take long. It never does. It seems like ages ago now, but Thanksgiving games. We had a bunch of Thanksgiving games.
We
Any
had
surprises from last week, or any storylines there you want to talk about?
3 Thanksgiving games. The Vikings beat the Patriots, which I did not, unfortunately, didn't see that game. Was that a good game? Was that a good game? Did you watch it?
I didn't watch. I watched the other two and missed that one, but it seems like it was pretty decent. They got some scores up.
33-26 seems like a close game. It's funny that we're talking about how we didn't watch a game on a podcast that's supposed to be talked about the games. We just lost a bunch of listeners, probably. Who gives a shit? If you're still listening to us, the Bills-Lions game was a great game. The Lions still lioned it. They lost on basically a last second field goal. Some are saying that Dan Campbell mismanaged the clock. Some are saying that he should have challenged the spot. But either way, I don't think they would have got the ball in. I don't think they would have got the ball in the end zone. I think it would have been a field goal either way. They just left a little bit too much time. One big play, and unfortunately, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen.
They lost by 3 in classic Lions fashion.
Always losing. You pointed that out after the game. You said Lions lost again by 3. They always lose by 3. So essentially, always bet the Lions within 3. Go to BetStamp, bet the Lions within 3.
Any surprises from the week? Cleveland Browns beating the Bucks. Bucks division is so bad, but they all lost, so it's okay.
Yeah, the division is very bad. I mean, both of them, the Falcons had a chance to beat the Commanders, but the Commanders are good.
They're on they're undefeated in November.
And Taylor Heineke's he's getting it done for them. And it's cool. You heard the thing about his shoes every time he goes out and every time he
is
beats
that
the
a
team.
cocky thing, or is that kind of just cool? I feel if it was an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, people would hate on him. A guy doing it regularly. But I feel like for an up and comer, it's kind of like, well, how many pairs does he have so far, right? It's
his 9 pairs of shoes.
There you go, 9 pairs of shoes.
I don't think it's a cocky thing. I think it's a good way. It's like trophy. It's obviously a trophy. It's serial killer style.
Yeah.
But
he wears them in the press conference.
I like it. It's a cool way. It's a cool way to honor a win for yourself and also treat yourself for a victory. It's nice to treat yourself when you win. So to do it and then obviously he loves Jordans, he loves shoes, to do it in the other team's color scheme, it's kind of instead of saying I beat Washington, it's like this is like it's a little ode to it. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I don't think it's cocky at all.
No. I got nothing. Maybe I'm jealous. I don't have that many pairs of Jordans.
But at what point does he so if he beats, let's say he beats the Eagles 3 times, does he just keep getting Eagles colors Jordans?
Yeah, you get a different year's model in a different color, in the same colorway.
Do you think the year that you beat them is that show the Jordan that you should get, or do you have to go classics, like start at 1?
Well, I think you got to maybe combine the score. So if it's 23, you get 23 points up to beat him. You got to put the 23 together, so you get 5. You get Jordan 5s in Eagles colors.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of ways you can do it.
There's a lot of ways.
I don't think there's how many pairs of Jordans do they make? I know most people only stick to like the 13s and below. Well, but you go up to like there's 30 different models, isn't there?
So you'd have to beat some of those teams you wouldn't be able to beat 13 times in your career because you might only play the Chargers 3 times.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to run out of Jordans to buy.
No, but if he just bullies, we play for Washington, so their division, if he bullies the Giants or the Cowboys, beats them twice every year for 6 years, he can get up to the Jordan 12s.
I think he's not going to care if he's a guy who's bullying teams that he's guaranteed a few victories a year from them. I think he's having a good career and he's not really too worried about running out of Jordans. He'll double up.
You're telling me that his
He'll
entire
give a
NFL
reason.
career, he's not worried about running out of Jordans? You're saying he's not too concerned about it.
Probably not.
I think it's a cool thing to do. I think it's better than saying, I don't know, like getting a little plaque or a trophy or something.
Dancing on the other team's logo in midfield. Better than
Yeah,
that.
that's never turned out well. I'm
That's
surprised Michigan Wolverines got away with that this weekend, and Ohio State planted the flag at the center field in Ohio.
And then there's another game I want to bring up that you're still big on the Ravens, eh?
What? You're gonna go right to the heated moment then, huh?
Oh, we get heated.
I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with them. Something is broken about the Ravens.
They just haven't looked amazing all year. Lamar Jackson's good. When he's playing hot, he's playing hot.
Yeah, but it just can't be him anymore.
Well, that's exactly it. He'll get figured out. One player,
How will he get it figured out?
just they'll cover him. They'll blitz him every time, and just he's got nobody to throw to.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, how are the Ravens going to figure it out? What
Oh,
can they
yeah.
do to get better?
Players.
Well, it's too late for that.
Oh yeah, no. This season, I don't think they're doing much this season.
They would have to go out and get like they could probably get OBJ. Actually, going out to get OBJ makes a lot of sense for the Ravens.
it'd be great. Is he on the list though? I feel he's already made his decision.
There's rumors that he's going to the Cowboys and that he loves
Yeah.
the Cowboys. Which,
Either way, whatever the rumors are, I feel in his heart he knows where he's going already.
oh yeah, for sure.
But that Jacksonville thing, the coach decides, like, fuck it, we're going for 2, play for a win. We got nothing to lose. I love that attitude.
Yeah, his exact quote was, "We're going for 2 for the win. We're going down swinging."
Yeah, that's it.
He had
I
nothing to
love
lose.
that. Yeah,
He had nothing
exactly.
to lose.
What do you
Doug
care?
Peterson.
Another loss on your record? You got what? 3 wins on the season? 4 wins.
And we're finally seeing what
Taylor Lawrence. Lawrence.
Trevor
name?
Lawrence
Trevor
was
Lawrence.
finally going, like what he is capable of doing. First overall pick, once in a generation quarterback. He got screwed last year having to play for Urban Meyer. What a stupid decision that was by them. But so they bring in Peterson, they fix it, and now it looks like Lawrence is finally putting it together. Like we're finally seeing the capability that he's supposed to have.
Yeah.
The potential he's supposed to meet, which potential, worst word in sports, but the potential it's starting to show up.
Yeah. Another guy, kind of his somewhat rival, Joe Burrow. He's looking good again. He's getting Bengals are getting it together.
look good.
They are calm. They're a calm and collected team.
They don't even have Joe Mixon or Jamar Chase right now.
Yeah.
And they're winning. They're beating the Titans.
Yeah.
Like
And-
the Bengals look like really scary right now. And they did the same thing last year, where at the
Well-
end of the year, they just started putting it together.
What was my quote last week about the game of the week? You want them to lose? I will take them as my lock of the week. And I was the Titans just so they'd lose. There you go.
Did you take the Titans as a lock of the week last week?
Yeah, specifically quoting first, whoever I take will lose, I guarantee. So I'll take the Titans as my lock of the week.
It's dumb of you, wasn't it? So wait, let's go back to the decision that Jaguars.
No, it was a smart move. I wanted the Bengals to win.
Did you put money on them?
I don't know how. You're my guy. You're my
It's a
bookie.
good thing that we got BetStamp that could teach us how to do this stuff.
Yeah. Well, they'll get us the best odds, but you're my bookie still.
That's true.
You put the bets down. I just tell you what to bet.
So ridiculous. So easy. It makes everything more fun too. Like I don't understand why you don't.
It makes it too fun. Listen, I got a lot of vices in life. I got a lot of problems. I don't need to add gambling to it.
Maybe stop one of the other ones and do this one. This one will be healthier for a time being.
Sure.
Okay, so with the Jaguars, Doug Peterson goes for it on 2, wins the game, and then has the great quote. But they're 3-7. They really don't have anything to lose. Whereas the Chargers did the exact same thing at the end of the game to win and beat the Arizona Cardinals, but they were 5-5. Like their entire season was on that one play. Isn't that ballsier to go for it then?
It's definitely ballsier. But they're under the same thing, right? They eventually have to they got to get the wins too, right? They're running out of games, no? Are they in a playoff spot?
But they could have they could have kicked and took it to overtime. Instead, let's go for it on 2, see if we get it. If they don't get it, they're probably out of the playoffs in the AFC. But they got it, so they're 6-5 now instead of 5-6. Like that's more ballsy than the Jaguars going for it. 100%. You can't say that it's not.
No, it is.
Yeah.
More pressure. You got something to lose.
you have everything to lose. You don't just have something to lose. They don't get that 2-point conversion, and Staley probably loses his job.
What I'm saying is the Chargers weren't in a playoff spot at the time.
The Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot, and
They're fighting for a playoff spot. What I mean is they didn't have a playoff spot to lose. They're trying to get it. So they still have to go for it. They still have to reach and get that playoff spot.
Yeah, but they
still have to get the W's.
I understand that, but the risk reward factor is way higher than the Jaguars' risk reward factor.
Now, is it also just a little knock at Arizona where they're kind of like, well, I'm pretty sure we got this against them. You play the team, right? You don't play the strategies.
That's true. But then again, you are still tied with them with like 5 seconds left. So, you know what I mean?
But I like it. I like going for it.
I like going for it too. But
I like when you're
fired. You are fired if, like, that's the end of your job as the Chargers coach if you miss that. 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Now let's go back to the Bengals because there's also another fun storyline to talk about there, which I sent you the video right before we got online here. The center for the Bengals, Karras, as he's walking off the field in Tennessee, pumped up, super pumped up about the win, starts walking off the field through the tunnel and yells at the Titans fans, "Fuck yeah, right up yours, Tennessee. Fuck you. Fuck you." Love or hate this guy?
I don't know anything about it, but I got nothing against that. You got the opposing fans. That's how you get.
All you need to know about it is that they won a big game, and it was down to the wire. They won a big game. He's jacked up, and that's what he says coming off the field. Like, that's all you need to know about it in context.
I like this thing of the opposing players creating themselves as a villain. That adds such a better storyline every time they come to town. Because he's not hurt somebody. It's not like he shoved a baby in front of a bus. He yelled out "fuck you" to the stadium. That's not that big of a deal, right? Think about what those guys are yelling to him.
That's what I mean. I love
They're yelling more. I'm sure. I want to repeat it on the air. What I think they would be saying. Yeah.
Way worse stuff.
So just creating yourself as a player to be the enemy. I love that storyline. The villain's coming to town again, right?
I think this is the best thing ever, if not only because your teammates are going to see it and be like, I need this guy in my fucking locker room for the rest of my career because I will go to battle with him just based on that fact alone. Like, just to see how like pumped up he was and how like it was just like, yes, like fuck it, yes, fuck all of you. I loved it. I would love to have that, especially from a lineman, like an offensive lineman. It's one thing coming from like a quarterback that's supposed to be kind of like cocky but more kind of tied down and not to show that type of emotion. But for a guy like a center who's in the trenches, just fighting all the time, who will take those, like next time Tennessee plays him, like they're going to be going at him. So he has to know that while he says all that stuff, which just makes it more respectable.
Snap. Yeah. Probably plays every snap.
Oh, he does play 100 every snap for sure.
Now, is there a difference between doing what he did at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game?
Yeah.
When you win, everything's different when you win.
Well, exactly. You can't do it.
Come in cocky.
If you lose,
that's a ballsier move. You come in cocky, telling everyone to go fuck themselves.
Sure, but then you lose, you get in shit. You get in trouble.
Don't lose.
Don't lose is, I guess, the answer. But you
don't
can't.
Lose.
Like,
you can't go in with a loser's mentality.
No, but I think you're wrong about this. Do something first and then be cocky. Don't be cocky and then not do anything. Do something first, prove it, get it done, and then be cocky, because once you've done something, nobody can say, who the fuck are you? You haven't done shit. We won. Whereas this is what I hate about, this is why it's you, the Canuck fans, that do it. You guys don't say shit all game. And then, I guess at the end you do it, which I don't like because I wear my Leafs shit. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. That makes me look dumb.
I'll tell you what it is if you know much about betting like I do, what you want to do is you want to leverage your bets by saying a bunch of shit first and then backing it up, because then it's worth so much more. Afterwards, it's not about, oh, you won, big deal. Anyone can talk shit when they won. Talk shit at first and then back it up is a lot harder to do.
It is a lot harder to do. I'll give you that. But I think it's more of a risk reward. Like it's like the Team Canada coach when he was like, fuck Croatia. And then that just made Croatia super angry and they destroyed us 4-1. Like you have to be good in order to do stuff like that.
Sure.
Good. And the Bengals right now are pretty good. Pretty good.
There's an old quote. I think it was attributed to Muhammad Ali. I can't remember, but it ain't bragging if it's true.
Yeah.
You come out talking shit and you back it up. Nothing.
Yeah. I think he says I'm not cocky if it's not cocky if you can back it up. Something like that.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on to something else here. So I want to talk a little bit about the Dolphins because they are good. They are 8-3. The three games they've lost were games that Tua was sidelined for. So the turnaround that's Tua, I just want to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. He got shit on all of last year by the coaching staff, by the fan base, everybody in the locker room, to the point where he would like look in the mirror and be like, am I actually bad? Am I not supposed to be here? I don't understand. People are telling me I'm bad. My coaches are telling me bad. The fan base is telling me bad. Am I a bad player? So Mike McDaniels, who we love on this program, I love him. I think that Dan Campbell gets a lot of the newsworthy stuff because he's more outgoing and loud and pump up and in your face. Whereas Mike McDaniels is smart, not as quiet, also cocky, but does things behind the scenes that are only cool when you hear about after. So before he met up with Tua, sat him down and said, listen, people have been telling you that you suck lately, but you're a guy. Like you are a player in this league. Put together a 700 play tape for Tua to watch. All of his 700 throws, but this is why you're good. This is why you're good. This is why you're good. Also went to Tyreek Hill when they signed Tyreek Hill and said, listen, this guy's been shit on by everybody here for the past year and a bit, by the coaches, the fans. I need you to help this guy get his confidence back because he is a player. And now he's playing at an MVP caliber level. He's playing out of his mind, and he's taking the Dolphins right now that have to be one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl at this level. It's unbelievable. It's super awesome coaching. And that's the next generation of coaches that are going to pump these guys up like this.
This is the image in my head. Dan Campbell is the middle-aged guy who's been working for a company selling printing presses, a family company. He's been at this for years, and the company's just dying. The industry is dying. He's working his ass off just to make enough money to cover his mortgage and make his car payment and cover all the debts and everything. And the guy's just struggling, but he works harder than anybody else out there. What's his name? McDaniels? He's one of these tech guru guys who just like has one of these companies. He's playing pinball with the boys half the day, and his stock price is just skyrocketing. Barely doesn't he work. His company's just doing great, though. That's kind of the image I see between them, right? And
no, that's 100% it. But that's the two difference of the guys but they're
there's
both
your blue collar working class one, and the other one where like he doesn't look like a coach. He doesn't seem like a coach. He doesn't talk like a coach.
No.
And I got nothing against that. I'm not trying to bash him for it, right? Like the way he presents himself to the media is not like the typical NFL kind of stale, boring, middle-aged white guy, older white guy coach, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Neither is actually, for that matter, what's the guy's name in Detroit there?
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. He's actually like puts all his emotion into everything, right? He'll cry in front of everybody. You know, he's fully out there too, right?
Yeah.
But I like them both.
I love them both.
Very different,
totally different
coaching. Yeah.
I would play hard for both those guys. I think you nailed it with those two comparisons. I did not know that. So Dan Campbell was a tight end for the Cowboys, tight end for a lot of teams, but when he was a tight end for the Cowboys, he was a backup tight end and he was a captain of the offense because guys just loved him. They loved him. He pumped up everybody. Apparently when he was doing an interview for, I forget who, maybe I think it was when somebody at the Dolphins, when he was like an assistant coach of the Dolphins, at his interview for the coaching job, he was like smashing chairs and like stomping around the room, just breaking stuff, trying to get the room fucking like pumped up. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
This
Also,
guy-
like Dan Campbell looks like he could take on and probably beat just about anybody in that locker room.
oh yeah, he well
I don't think
during Hard
McDaniels.
Knocks he was doing up downs with the team. He was doing 40
Yeah,
up downs with the team.
McDaniels. He'd have a tough time fighting one of the reporters. Just polar opposites of like just everything about them. But hey, he's
100%.
having a lot of success. His, like we said earlier, the beginning of the year, his team's exciting. The only time I started to doubt them was when I thought Tua was gonna be done for the season.
Yeah, I really read into that too much. We talked about it maybe too much because he's come back. He's been unreal.
I don't
People were
think
telling him to retire. I dropped him from my fantasy league. It cost me my whole season. People were telling him to retire. I thought he was dead.
Well, again, who knows the long term damage of head injuries? That was the whole debate we had.
Yeah.
But his play is still good. I was worried he was just going to be injured longer. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you have those lingering migraines and concussion syndromes that just, if you've ever had that, they can really just debilitate you.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe in the offseason when because he could just be running on adrenaline right now and his body.
No, because it wears off after the day. You can't have adrenaline for.
No, but you can have I'm in this for like a long season, and then once it's like what happens when we do a show, and at the end of the show, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm exhausted. I didn't realize how tired I was because you're just in it. You're just going. You're in a routine. You're just doing it until you realize you have no reason to wake up the next day, and then everything just kind of like shuts down. That's kind of a thing that could happen, but I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor. Let's talk about someone else who got smoked in the head this weekend. LA Rams coach Sean McVay got absolutely hammered right in the jaw accidentally by one of his players' shoulders and just like took it. And the player didn't turn around, so he didn't know who he hit. Just kept going on the field. But did you see that? Did you see that hit?
I did.
It was insane.
Does it bring up, their old footage of Sean McVay? He's got the guy on the sideline to pull him back when the refs are going by.
That guy was in the video.
Yeah. Now, to me, it's a very odd thing because I'm just a little too observant of my surroundings. I can't really turn that off. Right. But for him, I guess it's just he's so locked in that he's oblivious to it.
I always thought it was a little weird too. Like, how do you not know?
It's an odd one to me. I mean, is it that necessary?
No, I don't think so.
But he is also very young. He's our age, and he's a successful NFL coach. And
They're talking about.
Not only is he like a successful NFL coach, he's been coaching in the NFL for a decade or something.
Yeah. Yeah. He's younger than us too. He's not our age. He's younger than us.
Well, there you go.
And he's talking about retiring and going into like announcing. Apparently he's got like $150 million contract waiting for him the minute he retires. Just like Tom Brady.
It seems like a lot of these guys do. There's so many announcers now.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
How many more networks are there? Did I space out somewhere? Were there always this many networks?
No, but there's
every
because
decent
the
player of the last 5 years
there's
has a job.
Games. There's 16 games every weekend. Ish.
Yeah, but they don't all play the same. I guess one broadcaster only does one game.
Yeah. You think he's doing a 1 o'clock game and then flying somewhere else to do a 4 o'clock game?
Green screen.
Green screen? How the fuck are you supposed to watch this? Just a couple guys sitting in green screen watching TV?
You just watch it on your phone and you just report live on the green screen. That's how the pros do it, man. That's how the pros do it. I'm telling you.
No, they have to have that one shot on the drone where they're in the booth and they fly back in a way to show that no, these announcers are actually really here.
Okay, you're right.
Okay, let's talk about Mike White and Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson's got to be done, right? There's no way you go back.
I could see him getting another shot in the NFL. I don't think
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it's right now.
Right.
This is either the wake-up call for him, like, listen, realize what you've done. Realize your team hates you. The fans hate you. Nobody's got your back right now. And you're not playing to a level where anybody really needs you, wants you, or gives a shit about you.
Right.
It's on you to make the change and show other people you've made the change and you get it. or just continue down this path you've been on. You're a young guy in the league who's accomplished nothing.
Nothing.
You are so expendable.
Yeah, and the only people that like him right now are probably his mom's friends.
He probably never called them back. They probably don't like him either.
The Richard Sherman said, "If I'm a production," he said, "I'm a production guy. Mike White has production. If we just took everything away and swapped the stories of Zach Wilson and Mike White, it was just Mike White drafted number 2, and he was playing this well, and his teammates were saying this about him. You'd be like, hey, they made the right pick. They've got a franchise guy." So everybody in that dressing room apparently loves Mike White. They're chanting Mike White, Mike White, Mike White. Throughout parts of last year and this year.
Yeah. So we talked about Baker Mayfield the other week. Like, he's had a lot of chances. I don't know if he's particularly liked or liked. He seems like a little bit of a rough around the edges kind of guy. Like, maybe not the most overly polite or just friendly or just, I don't know how well he bonds with people just from how, he's seen in the media. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I really don't know. But there's almost that arrogance to him of, like, don't talk to me. I'll figure it out myself.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like Zach Wilson has that as well.
So shouldn't they be sitting him down and say, hey, look at Baker Mayfield? That's it.
That's what I mean. Like, this is almost like this is timeout. You put him in a timeout and you say, you want to make the change, or are we going to make the change for you permanently? Because I remember one of my bosses said this to somebody once. If we have to have this chat again, we're not going to have this chat again. We're just not going to happen. That's just the end of the matter. So I think that's his position, right? Like, maybe he'll end up as a backup somewhere, but he's got to make the change. Everything is on him. You can't blame why he didn't get the opportunity, because a lot of it comes down to attitude.
100%. And actually, Baker Mayfield, if you look at where he's at now, he's kind of made that adjustment because he's on the sideline to Sam Darnold, who had a great weekend on his little comeback tour. Carolina just has a bunch of quarterbacks that need to have comebacks. The thing about Baker is he's kind of turned it around where he's just on the sidelines rooting on guys. His teammates are starting to like him. His teammates are talking very highly of him, which was not the case in Cleveland. So it might just be a situation where, hey, like, learn from Baker right now on the other side of the conference.
Sometimes guys just need a chin check. That's it.
Yeah, exactly right. Guys just need a chin check.
It doesn't have to be as bad as the one McVay got, but sometimes it does.
Okay, so let's go back to the Rams now that you've mentioned McVay again. Looks like Matthew Stafford has a concussion. We're not sure if he's going to play this week, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I think his season's more or less done, regardless of whether he plays or he doesn't play. They're not going to be playing for anything. Their team's in shambles.
They're talking about shutting down Stafford, Aaron Donald, and Cooper Kupp.
Well, Cooper Kupp's already shut down, isn't he? He's not.
Yeah.
He's not coming back anytime soon.
So you know what this means, though, right?
What does that mean?
They're tanking for a high first-round pick.
Sure.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
The Detroit Lions get that pick.
Oh, yeah.
So that's I'm excited about. Now, my fear is, and I talked about this at the beginning of the season, is I want them to draft a quarterback, but I feel like the way Jared Goff is playing, they're not going to do that.
Well, that's not even a bad move, though, because, hear me out. You draft a quarterback, sits behind Goff for a season and a half.
Love that. I love
Goff. That. You think Goff's your guy in 3 years, including this year?
No.
Well, then, so there you go. You draft a quarterback.
I know, but the mentality of the Lions screw everything up. They won't be thinking like that. They're going to think, we need to get a guy that's going to win for next year, blah, 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 blah.
They're taking a kicker with that pick. You know that, right?
They would absolutely do that. But that's my fear, is that they're gonna screw that up. But hey, the Rams tanking means nothing but good things for the Lions fans. So if you're a Lions fan out there, you want Stafford shut down, you want Donald shut down, Cooper Kupp is shut down. Let them the Rams be the shittiest team in the league for the rest of the year.
Does it even matter though? They're losing either way.
Pick. We could have 2 top 5 picks.
They're losing either way though. Like, they're not. They're getting their ass handed to them every weekend.
That's absolutely true.
So
very bad.
And I've heard rumors that Stafford might even want to retire. And again, I don't know how substantial.
I've heard those rumors as well.
But he's had a lot of his head got hit a lot throughout his time with the Lions.
Oh yeah, his body's in shambles. He has to be hurting all the time. There's no way that guy's not feeling pain every single morning he wakes up.
Aaron Donald was talking about retiring, and there was a whole thing of like run it back, and it didn't work out. So he was already in talks of retiring.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that might continue.
Stafford retires, Donald retires, and then Cooper Kupp's just left there standing going, what the fuck, guys? What did I do?
No, he seems like he's got the best attitude. He seems like I'll play whatever the situation is.
Sure, but he's only had one good season. It's kind of ruined his entire career if those two guys go. Like, that's the end of those Rams. It's over because then McVay retires.
Sure. But who cares? They got their Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess. But hey, some people are happy with just one, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams out there that would just love to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've never been to the Super Bowl, so I don't know what it feels like in terms of my team. I'm looking over the scores from last week again. The Houston Texans are dog shit football team. They are some of the worst football that's being played right now is in Houston. Browns beat the Buccaneers. Let's talk Browns. So kind of a shitty deal for Jacoby Brissett, who's been playing well.
Yeah, he was always planned, though. He must have known.
For sure. But it still sucks. Like you still fight and claw and scratch and like, well, okay, you got a guy coming in, but I can still play. And then the guy you have coming in is just a monster, hasn't played football in 2 years. And is he getting the start right away? Like, does he come in or does he come off the bench?
I'd have to look. Yeah, they got to start Deshaun Watson. We already talked about it. You have to. Like, you paid this guy this much money just to keep him for 3 years not playing to see if he gets better after 3 years of not playing? No, you got to start him right away. But the thing about Brissett, I don't know what his contract situation is, but all this does is make him a good possibility to go to another team. His stock moves up.
Sure, but
so what does he?
Why is days? Well, I guess he can figure it out at the end of the year, but there's, I don't know. Like, it's tough. I'm trying to Google if Deshaun Watson is starting this weekend, but all I'm getting is there's going to be 10 of his accusers are going to be at the game on Sunday.
Here's a question for you. Is that a prop bet right now?
If he starts?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
That could be a good prop bet.
They just keep saying that he will be ready to roll. Deshaun Watson will be ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been ready to roll for 2 years. Not a lot.
Yeah, it's not. He was never injured, so like, there's no reason he shouldn't be doing football activity. I think he comes in, he's just horse shit garbage, and the Browns just deal with it because that's what they have to do for the next whatever amount of games are left. 7 games.
Now, at this point,
5 games.
Who do you take? You take Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson? Because that's another massive contract. That's another $230 million contract. I just saw the breakdown of his contract.
Like with their personality flaws,
with who they are,
knowing what we know about them. Knowing what we know about them, I take Russell Wilson because Deshaun Watson is a serial problem. Russell Wilson has a very awful problem as well, and it's that he's not good at football. He also seems like nobody fucking likes him on his team. And if you have to find out, or if you want to find out if Russell Wilson is a good teammate, just ask anybody in the city of Seattle, and they'll tell you that he's not a good teammate. People don't play for him. It's like, so who was it that came? One of the defensive linemen came off of the field, Purcell, and just started screaming at Russell Wilson, and nobody knows what was said. It was after the game, Russell in his press conference, somebody asked him like, "Hey, what did Purcell say to you there?" And he just said, he just said, "Hey man, we got to go. Like we got to get down the field. We got to score a touchdown." And I was like, "Yeah, man, me too. I feel the same way. I know." And then Purcell backed it up a day later, was like, "Yeah, no, I was just trying to get him pumped up so he could go out on the field." I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm guessing he came off the field and said, "You fucking do something or let someone else play because you are dog shit right now. So go out there and be the guy that we thought we were getting." Or like, it wasn't nice. It wasn't as nice as those two guys are saying it is.
Fuck no, it wasn't nice. The only thing kinder said that week was when Karras told Tennessee to go fuck itself, an entire city. That was the only kinder word spoken than whatever Purcell said to Wilson. Looking at his contract, I didn't actually look at the breakdown of his contract, how much he's getting paid in dead cap every year. It's like 100-something million this year, 80-something next year. Like,
Yeah.
it's has there been a worse trade as it stands as of today in NFL history that you can think of? Like, that is bad. He is bad.
He's bad. Bad. And that is going to go down as one of the worst trades in history because you gave up like 3 first-round picks for him, and you gave him all this money based off nothing, and now you have to deal with the consequences. It's
based off what I said about him at the beginning of our podcast. He is the only active player that has given away a Super Bowl. The hate stands right now.
Do you think he had something to do with that call? Like he could have audibled to a run.
He could have done anything. The ball was in his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have audibled to a run. Like there's no.
Anyway, I we'll be talking about that one forever.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we will.
I always have a soft spot for it. You know, I grew up 2 hours outside of Seattle, which is a very misleading statement because I was in a different country. But
that's very true. All right, let's talk about some games coming up this weekend.
what do we got?
We got tomorrow night the Bills and the Patriots. Actually, a big game. The Bills are 8-3. The Patriots are 6-5. They're both fighting for playoff spots.
Who's the division leader there?
The division leader is the Dolphins at 8-3 because they beat the Bills earlier this year.
Quietly snuck in there as the division leader, eh?
Oh yeah, I mean the Dolphins are a team, man. That's what I'm telling you. And then the Bills are also 8-3, but they lost to the Dolphins earlier. They are 4-2 away and 4-1 at home. This game for them is in New England, so they're away. New England is 3-2 at home. They just lost this past weekend. Who do you got?
Buffalo. Yeah.
Seems like Josh Allen wasn't too phased by his arm last week against the Lions. I wish I could say he had a longer rest period because they played last Thursday, but they're going again this Thursday. So next weekend we can say that. But I think I got Buffalo as well. Although the Patriots at home are tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't look at them as the same Patriots.
Yeah. No, I don't either. They don't have a quarterback.
No,
and then we got some good games. We got Titans, Eagles.
Okay.
First games of the weekend, the first tier games. We got Titans, Eagles. Eagles are 5-point favorites. I think they win. It's in Philly. So, I mean, it's tough to play in Philly. It's
Take
a
the
hard
home
place.
team.
Yeah, take the home team. Then we got Bears in Chicago versus the Packers. Packers favorite to win by 3.5. I got Bears in this one. Fuck that. I got Bears in this one.
Now, something we were talking about maybe off the air, I can't recall, about the Packers. Is it not time to just sit? At what point in the season do you sit Aaron Rodgers as, listen, we're not going to win. Let's get Jordan Love some experience.
But the problem is you just signed him to 4 years to be your starting quarterback. Right?
Yeah. But
So,
what's the point? What's the point of having a backup that's never played?
well, there's no point to having it. But you give up. You essentially, if you sit Rodgers now, Aaron Rodgers said today on the Pat McAfee show, I'm going to be starting on Sunday.
Sure.
So it's kind of up to him. You bench him now, then he's done. But you're right. There's two schools of thought there. It's either let's go to the kid, see what he can do, and then maybe we don't need Aaron Rodgers next year, or let's just let Aaron Rodgers play because we do need him next year. Because let's face it, the team around him, the players aren't very good.
No. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is young enough in his career that he can carry the team anymore.
I agree.
Not hating on him as a player.
He did just win back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah, and I'm not hating on him as a player. I just don't think he can carry the team like he used to.
Right.
It's like kind of like LeBron James in LA, right? Like he was the guy carrying his team all the time. But you just get to a point where age catches up and you'll just injure yourself carrying the team week after week after week. You need other guys to step up. Like you're just getting older, right? How old is Rodgers? 37, 38?
At least 38.
Yeah. You know, he's not getting younger and
Nope.
for 4 more years. So you got this guy at least 41.
It's problematic. It's problematic.
You know, and he's good. I'm not saying he's not good, but
Back-to-back
I don't
MVPs.
think he's good enough to carry the team alone.
He's playing with a broken thumb.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. Like I don't know. I don't know what to do with him either. You have nothing to play for this year, so maybe bench him. Not even bench him. Just like, hey, man, take the rest of this year off. Go do some more ayahuasca, and just like
I'm not
relax.
saying bench him as a punishment. Just
do it
something
like, hey,
even like a half.
Yeah.
Give the guy a half. I just feel at some point you have to give Jordan Love some experience to play.
Even just to trade him, even just to say, hey, look what this
For
guy can
anything.
do.
Like, what's
trade
the
him, get
point
another
of
first round
having a
pick.
guy with zero NFL experience?
Yeah, I agree. Next game, Lions, Jaguars in Detroit. Jaguars are favored to win by 1.5. I'm taking the Lions in this one.
Meow. I'll take the Lions. Lions coming off a tough loss. That was a tough loss against Buffalo. They were in that game.
They're in every game this year, and Buffalo's
They were not outmatched.
No, so I think they have to be the Jaguars just because that's the team they need to beat. Can't be giving these ones up. Texans, Browns. These teams. It's only big because of the fucking guy that's playing in the game.
And his former team.
Yeah, in Houston, Browns are favorites to win by 7.
I almost want to take Houston as the revenge.
I want to take Houston as a revenge too, but they're so bad at football.
Yeah, they got one win.
They're so bad at football.
Well, they don't have any good players.
They're historically bad at football. Can they win in this game just based off of spite? Is this a spite game for Houston? We have to take them. If this is a spite game, we have to take them. Which means only one thing and one thing only. It's time for our pick of the week, presented by BetStamp. BetStamp is your one-stop shop for line shopping, bet tracking, and sports betting odds. You would never just go with the first price if you were shopping for flights, so why settle for the first odds you find when betting? BetStamp changes that. The streamlined and easy-to-use app allows you to find a wide spectrum of odds for any bet. Then it makes it easy to track your bets in one place. You can set alerts in case the line changes and learn what bets your friends and even some celebrity bettors are making. The money line for the Houston Texans.
Just want to win. I can't get these spreads.
The Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns. I see on some apps you can get Houston at plus 275. That'd be the high one, and the low one would be 240, depending on where you go.
Do we have $100 to put down between us?
No, God, no. Not on the Houston Texans. Not on the Houston Texans. But there you go. If you look at your BetStamp apps, you can get this will be our bet of the week. You can get the Houston Texans at 275, or you can get them at 240 based on what app you are using. Look into it. Use BetStamp. They will tell you where to go and how to do it. We're going to move on to the next game here, but
what's our game of the week? What's the game of the week?
That's the game of the week. Based on how it's a spite game, so it has to be our game of the week. The Texans upset the Browns.
Okay. What's the game of the week for the average NFL fan, not two spiteful assholes like you and me?
That would be the 49ers welcoming the Miami Dolphins into San Francisco.
That sounds like such a better game.
It's a way better game. Nobody's watching the fucking Texans-Browns game. Nobody. Except for any of our listeners that have decided to use BetStamp to get themselves a better odds on that game. Anyways.
Throw away their money, yeah.
49ers, Dolphins. 49ers are 4-point favorites in San Francisco. I think Dolphins upset them. I think Dolphins win.
I wouldn't even call it an upset. I would have thought this is a pretty even match. Like, I could see this going either way.
This could be a future Super Bowl matchup.
This could be a future Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah.
I like that.
I have to watch this one at the airport.
I think this is a good test for the new look 49ers. Because the Dolphins have been clicking for a while.
Yep.
Now that the McCaffrey's settling in.
You're right. Absolutely.
Good
There's
test.
also, it's actually a good weekend. We got the Vikings versus the Jets. So
I don't
both these
care about
teams
that.
but they're fighting for playoff spots. Both these teams are fighting for playoff spots. So the Vikings are 3-point favorites.
Well, I think the
Minnesota.
Vikings get a playoff spot because I think they're just ahead of their division too much.
They'll get their division.
Yeah.
But the Jets are fighting for it, so they'll put
For
up.
sure.
They're not just going to lay over. I think Minnesota wins that game. Falcons Steelers, nobody gives a shit about, except for if you are in Atlanta, because the Falcons are still trying to win that division that is super
and they're
shitty.
still in it.
The Buccaneers are leading the division at 5-6. The Falcons are second place at 5-7. Both the other teams, the Panthers and Saints, are only 4-8, and they're still in contention to win this division.
Somebody's getting the home field advantage for
football.
the first.
Yeah.
Someone's getting a home field advantage by just never winning any games.
Imagine this scenario: the Buccaneers go to the playoffs, and they get home field advantage. Then they play Kirk Cousins on like a Sunday night game. Actually, no, Kirk Cousins wouldn't have to do that because he'd be 9-2. So they're going to get Geno Smith in the Seahawks, or Daniel Jones in the Giants, or Heineke in the Commanders. So Tom Brady just has to beat one of those quarterbacks. And then he's going to go to the next round and probably get Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith. And then he's going to end up getting to the Super Bowl just because the quarterbacks he's playing are on teams with good teams and not necessarily them. Kirk Cousins ain't going to win nobody a Super Bowl. Geno Smith is not winning anybody a Super Bowl. Daniel Jones is not winning anybody a Super Bowl. Tyler Heineke is not winning anybody a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Jimmy G are the quarterbacks in this division, in this conference, that actually have playoff experience. And if Tom Brady doesn't have to face any of them, or just has to face one of them in the conference finals, it's going to be so like.
Do you know the coach's name in Minnesota?
Kevin O'Connolly.
Kevin. Okay, Kevin. Let's say at some point. What point do you think Kevin kind of looks around the room and just says, "Hey, Dalvin, if we give you the ball, do you think you just throw it to Jefferson?" He'll get it. I promise you. If you get it near him,
he will get it. Don't
he'll
worry
get
about
it.
him.
Don't worry about
he
him.
Will get it.
If you just throw it to him, I think that might just overcome the Kirk Cousins thing.
I love that. I hope that happens. I love that. Okay, then we got the Rams, Seahawks. Seahawks are kind of slipping right now. They need to win this game. They're 8-point favorites, so they should win this game. Giants, Commanders. Commanders are favorite. It's in New York, and Commanders are favorites to win by 2.5. That's also a game because both these teams are still in the hunt for a playoff.
Giants have lost a couple now. They've lost a few games now. I think they're starting to slip a little bit. They're not they had a hot start, and I don't think it's.
Well, I mean, they had a tough divisional game against the Cowboys last week, but you're right. They have to win this one. This is a big game for them. They have to win this one. Again, that's a great game. Like, it's just so much matters there. Chargers, Raiders in Las Vegas. Raiders have been playing very well. They beat the Seahawks. Your Seahawks played your Raiders last week, and Josh Jacobs ran a touchdown in overtime to seal the win for the Las Vegas Raiders.
That was a monster run, too.
That was a huge run. That was Marshawn Lynch-esque.
Well, not as
he didn't
much
run over anybody, but to win the game.
He was just untouched. Yeah. He went through. He broke.
But he just looks like that big guy, like that just runs through people.
Now, something to bring up. At the beginning of the season, we were talking about that division and how good they were going to be. Obviously, it didn't pan out. But one thing I mentioned was that I thought that Josh Jacobs was one of the better running backs in that division. And you put the Broncos running backs. I didn't forget this. You put the Broncos running backs.
Hurt. He tore his ACL. They were at the beginning of the year, the Raiders were talking about trading Josh Jacobs, which would have been a mistake, but they were talking about it.
Hey, I didn't say they got good management. They've had bad management. Yeah. That's been a known thing for a while. But now looking back, KC doesn't have great running backs. Chargers got a great running back. I got to put Josh Jacobs number 2, no? In that division?
100%. Austin Eckler with the Chargers, and then Josh Jacobs with the Raiders, and then Kenneth Walker with the that's the NFC West. Yeah. Jacobs 2, Eckler 1, Jacobs 2, then 4 people on the Chiefs, and then 4 people on the Broncos. There's no, like, Eckler and Jacobs are far and above everybody else in that division. So wait, I said game of the week was 49ers Dolphins, but we got Bengals Chiefs as well in Cincinnati. That's a huge game. That could be another, like, It could be an AFC championship matchup as well. Chiefs favorite to win by 2 in Cincinnati.
Did they play this year, or was it just a preseason?
Nope, they haven't played this year.
So they did a preseason.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they
No,
did
because
the
remember they had the big brawl
preseason.
for the
Yeah.
they had the joint practice thing.
Yeah. They did the first preseason
right
game this year.
which meant nothing. But
Never means
okay. So then, yeah, they do play in Cincy.
Yeah.
It could be a good game. Yeah, I still think the Chiefs are the favorite, right?
The Chiefs the favorite by 2.
By
But I don't
2.
know. These Bengals are hitting strides.
I
They're
do,
hitting
yeah,
strides.
they're hitting the strides.
And
Does
then
Jamar Chase come back at all?
not yet.
No, but it's soon though. It's not like he's done.
No, I think he will be back at some point. Let's see here. I'm just typing a little Google. Yeah, he will be back. Plan to return week 13. So he'll be back against the Chiefs.
Bang.
Boom. That's great news. I think that's great news.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great game. There's a lot of good games this Sunday. I'm missing this weekend. Damn.
Now, does Travis Kelce get covered? Do they cover him?
Never.
No, they don't cover him, man.
Nobody
Gotta
covers
keep
him.
that one
He's
up.
allowed to do whatever he wants to do.
Only you and I know you got to cover him.
Yeah. And we keep yelling at people to do it on this podcast, and nobody's listening. No one's listening. Sunday night's a shitty game. It's Cowboys Colts. Cowboys blow them out, right? It's in Dallas.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday. Wondering about this experiment.
Well, he mismanaged the clock like crazy the other day. Didn't call any timeouts. Went home. They ran out of time to win the game, and they had 2 timeouts left, and they just didn't use them.
Yeah, that Steelers game did not go well, and it wasn't even interesting.
No.
I don't think they got a first down until like the second half or something.
The best joke I heard was because he left 2 timeouts in the game. Like he didn't use them and he should have used them. The best joke I saw was, I guess Jeff Saturday thinks he's going to trade those 2 timeouts for another broken quarterback.
That's not bad. That's not
It's
bad.
pretty good. Monday night game is Bucks Saints. That's a huge game.
That's a huge game.
Huge game, even though they're both shitty teams.
No,
That is-
that's a good game because they'll be fighting. If Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans are in this game, it's gonna be.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a good.
That's great. Yeah, look to that matchup. The Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore matchup will be the matchup to watch this weekend individually.
Now is crybaby Jameis Winston, because injuries took his spot. Is he playing or is it Dalton?
That's a good question. I think it's Dalton again, but let me look. Jameis Winston.
I don't like that statement. You lose your job. You don't lose your job to injuries.
What do they say? The best ability is
Teleporting.
availability. It's availability.
Availability. Okay.
The best ability is availability. And it doesn't look like Jameis Winston will be playing. It'll be Andy Dalton. So we'll see. We'll see how much longer that lasts, but it'll be interesting to watch. Do you have anything else to say on this Week 13 preview podcast?
Nope. I think we're good.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next week after these games. See ya. Running Down the Clock is brought to you by the Ordinary Podcast Network and is every Thursday running until the week after the Super Bowl. We hope you enjoyed enough to subscribe and tune in again next week.